Well, all right. Welcome to yet another edition that's of the ImMe Podcast. It's been a minute. It's been long. We kickstarted the year a bit on the low side, but now we're gonna give it to you straight. My episode back and forth, so best be ready. And shout out goes out to everybody that's been watching the podcast. Remember to subscribe below. Subscribe, like it, follow, share, do what you gotta do, and we can all stay in sync. The name is Zkit, aka You're Ready, and know the rest. And shout out to my whole squad that's behind the scenes, my engineer ImMe, so that they've got you covered. Make sure that they got the sound in check. Shout out to my videographer, Trouble, aka Belief. Is it Belief aka Trouble? Which is which Belief? I don't know. Okay, so that's Belief aka Trouble. Make sure that we shoot every other week. Make sure the visuals are in check. Color coordination with the black and shout out to everybody. We're talking about Cafe Alana. Remember, you can come through if you need accommodation. You can also come through if you need food, great food. They've got great beverages, and if you want a venue for a wedding, a venue for a birthday party, a venue for everything and anything that you might need, you can also pull up, and they've got you covered. Shout out goes out to TLB City. Highlight Pablo, Dylan. You check out the links as we go. Make sure you watch the whole cast. My details. TLB City. Shout out goes out to Drive Time Motors, and of course and this is under Taura ImMe the podcast. Remember to get your merchandise, get merchandise below. Get in touch with us, any of the numbers below, and you can get yourself the merchandise. We'll give you the merchandise so you can be fresh for summer. We'll make sure that we put some regalia for the winter, so that by the time it's winter you are set and proper. And this episode is a beautiful episode. It's an interesting episode. I've got an interesting guest. She's very bold.
Very
literally.
yeah.
So is this what's with the look?
Actually,
before I introduce
every
you?
touch is due.
Oh, every touch is you.
Yeah.
You're not bold enough.
Yeah. No. It's gotta be bold.
Okay, what's with the look? Why do you like the look though?
It's easy going, you know.
It's easy going?
Yeah. And it is bold. It just says something about who I am.
That or locks, which one is more bold?
I think this bold is bold.
Bold is bold.
Yeah. Okay.
And shout out goes out to our chef and the barman, the mixologist. He's got us with some Blue Lagoons today. It's the Blue Lagoon. Last time I was having Blue Lagoon, I had big issues. I was drunk. I was tipsy on the podcast. But ImMe the podcast, we're allowed to do what we want. Free up, be yourself. My special guest is Chiedza. Is it Tangira or Makwaza? Which one do you prefer? Which one do you use?
I kind of use both.
You kind of use both?
Is my maiden name, and
okay.
Makwaza is my I still use it.
You still use it? Yeah. Okay. Oh, you haven't
it's on
changed.
My ID, I haven't changed it.
Okay. You looking forward to changing?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yes. I am.
How long have you contemplated changing it?
I haven't contemplated. I just haven't felt like it was
it's
time.
Not necessary.
I'm not in a hurry. Anyway,
okay.
I think I want to keep the same surname with my kids.
Okay.
For as long as they're still under 18 and they need me.
Yeah, and
it makes it easy
it's easier to
travel
things.
And sign up for things and.
Okay, for the sake of our audience, people that are watching, all right, you are no longer married?
No,
are you married? Okay, hence the conflicting surnames.
Yes.
Okay. I want you to take us back. Where you started.
Okay.
How was your background? How did you grow up?
Okay, so I grew up I was raised by my mom and by the community, really, if I must say it like that.
Okay.
Because
how do you mean by the community? I know in African culture, everyone is raised. All right, so how do you mean raised by the community?
Okay, so I was in several homes as I was growing up. So and some of the homes I didn't live there, but I ate there, and I spent most of my time in those homes. So it was really just being raised by the community. When my mom gave birth to me, she was 15.
Oh, she was 15?
Yes.
Okay.
So she got pregnant.
I almost asked you how old you were when she gave
yeah. Serious. You've just drank a little bit, so I don't think it's
I just think outside the box.
Okay, I can see.
Yeah.
So my dad didn't take responsibility. I think he was way older than her. He agreed that he would marry her.
Okay.
They went to courts and everything that needed to be done, and then one day he went to work and he never came back. So he's still at work.
Even up until
today.
now.
Yes. He left my mom by herself at home, a place that they had looked for to stay together, and he disappeared. And that's how it happened.
Yeah.
So I think the first.
What was your? Have you met him?
No, I don't even know anything about him.
Nothing.
Whatever information was available was not enough to find him. And I think as I was growing, I went through certain things in life that made me just feel like I didn't need him. So I was good without him. I actually don't have the desire to find him at all.
Oh, okay.
Up until today.
All right, so we go back to then. Okay.
Yes. So my mom stayed with her parents, I suppose, when I was too young for me to. I remember when I was about 3, my grandmother died.
Okay.
And I have a few memories of us going to the funeral, to bury her, and coming back. And then after that, my mother was getting married again, getting married, and I had to move in with my uncle, my mom's brother.
How old were you then?
About 4, yeah, I would say, because I hadn't started school.
Okay.
So I would say I was about 4, and I stayed with him and started grade 1 with him. I started school early. I think the following year when I turned 5, I started.
No, preschool, straight into
school.
Yes.
I don't remember a lot of it, but I know I started school early, and I also skipped grade 2, and then I went to grade 3.
Any particular reason why you skipped grade 2?
Because the teachers just thought I was intelligent enough to move to the next grade.
Oh, okay.
That's what they thought. So I moved to grade 3. And then when I went to grade 3, I moved back. My mom was in Mashingo. That's where she was staying. Now she had 2 more kids with the other husband, but she was not with him anymore. So I went back to be with my mom, and I stayed with her for grade 3, grade 4, grade 5. For 3 years I was with my mom, and I went back to my uncle when I was in grade 6, because my mom, I don't have reasons of why that moving up and down was happening. But between me and my sisters, we were exchanging. So I went to stay with my uncle for grade 6, and in Harare. And when I was finishing grade 6, my mom fell ill, and we had to change again. We had to switch. So my sisters, because they were younger, they needed to be with my uncle, and I was a little bit grown up. I could take care of myself, so I went to live with my mom. So grade 7, I lived with my mom. She was very, very ill by then, and she was bedridden most of the time. So I would be doing everything that needed to be done at home.
You're the oldest.
I was the oldest, and I was 10.
Okay.
I turned 11 in the same year when I was doing grade 7.
Okay.
That's when I turned 11. And
that's like 2 years short of the average age.
Yes.
Yeah, grade 7.
Yes. So I would go to school. I learned far. So I used to walk to school and back, come back at home, and I would go kumsika kunohoda because there was no food in the house. So my mom taught me, you go kumsika ndonohoda mango. And this was like 3 in the afternoon when I come back from school. Then I would come back and then I would be selling on my way back.
Okay.
You know, back then in the ghetto, you used to be able to sell in the streets. Just walk with your dish and shout out whatever you are selling, and people would call you in to buy. So this was
in Mashingo.
In Mashingo.
Okay.
Yes. So that's what I did, and I would get home and we would buy whatever we needed to eat for the day, and I would cook and would eat, and then the next day I'm off to school again. And then unfortunately in the same year she passed away. So before I even wrote my grade 7 exams, she went to Harare to visit because she was now very ill, and her brother thought he could help. So she was now in hospital. I remember first term we were together. When second term started, she came to Harare to be treated, and she was in hospital. I came in during the holidays to visit her. And
so at this time you were, when she was in hospital, you were staying alone, or who were you staying with in Mashingo?
I went to stay with my step grandmother and my grandfather.
Okay.
Because my grandfather remarried after
Okay.
So I went to live with them. Okay. Temporarily, we were not sure what
was going to happen,
but I needed to finish school because grade 7 was not possible to transfer, you know. So I was with them. I came for holidays in April, and I visited in hospital, and then I didn't see her in May, and then she died late May. I know we buried her on the 1st of June, in that year. So I think that's when there'd always been things happening. You know, when you are in an unstable home, there's quite a lot that happens between you and everything else, and
and everything and everybody. And one of the key things that I think could or would happen is the people taking care of you want you to grow fast. They want to offload the burden.
Exactly.
Okay. This
so
happens.
You just become that child that everybody is trying to not get rid of, but just not have with, not be with, you know, because you come with.
Get rid of is a heavy term.
It is, but they are trying to find a place for you, which you are accepted and can just do your life. But I was young. 11 was way too young. So I came back to finish school, and I went and lived with my grandfather and his wife. And that's when life just became a whole new thing. I would come back from school. She had cooked. She used to sell in the beer hall. Okay. So she would cook madora, nzondo, ramazondo, boiled eggs, sausages, stuff. She would cook all those things, pack them up, and take them to the beer hall with her to sell. So they worked nights.
Okay.
By the time I come back from school around 3-4, they've already left. And they would drink the whole night and just be selling their things. Come back when the beer hall closes at 12. That's when they would come.
That's by together then, go and buya.
By then I'm already in bed. I'm sleeping. At first there was food at home, and then there was no food at home. I would come and there was mealie meal and salt in the house.
And you're still in grade 7?
I'm still in grade 7. I'm supposed to be preparing for my exams.
All right, we'll go back to high school right after the break. We'll take a commercial. When we come back, we finish up. Cafe Alana, your premium destination for exquisite events, scrumptious meals, just the perfect scenery for your day-to-day dates and of course business meetings. Do remember, visit us at number 10 Taylor all day, every day, on a Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and any other day. Remember, you can contact us for bookings. That's on 0782 243 095. Cafe Alana. Exquisite. All right, and before we paid some rent, we're talking about your primary school. That's when things switched.
Yeah.
You had to finish your grade 7.
I had to.
But the grandparents weren't available. All right, what happened next?
So what was happening is that my grandfather got a job eventually. After a couple of weeks, he got a job and he was working out of town. So it was just me and my grandmother, and things really changed. My step-grandmother. I don't want to have to emphasize that, but if I don't, if people are going to wonder, why would your grandmother be like that to you? You know?
People won't understand
They
where
won't understand
the rift
why
is.
she was treating me like that if she was my grandmother. So she would just, when you ukabika nehuni, and when you're putting out the fire, she would dip the whole firewood into water. So when I came back, even if I wanted to start the fire, that was the only firewood that was there. It's been done like that at 3. I get home at 4. It's still wet. I can't even make a fire.
Yeah.
And I would water the garden to make sure that I've got vegetables, and then I can make salsa. But then, when you are a young child, you start finding alternatives to whatever. So I started drifting with my friends.
Okay.
Whichever friend I was playing with at that time, I would eat in their house. And there's days when I could tell I'm not wanted here anymore, but I was hungry and I needed to eat. So I would wait until they dish, even if I know they are going to dish at 11 because they're waiting for me to leave. And so there was this one girl whose mom was living in the village, and the dad was in town with the kids as they were going to school. So I was.
So you were mom's ghetto village?
No, we are in the ghetto. Okay. We are in the ghetto. We never lived in the village. We've always been in town.
Ghetto?
It's called Runyararo now. It's 2 rooms back there.
Oh, okay.
Bakamboguti kwa Apiri, and now they call it Runyararo.
Okay.
I haven't been there in a while, so. Yeah, so that's where we stayed. So I would be playing with my friends and eating in their home. But it got to a point where I've overstayed my welcome in this home. I need to move to the next home and move. That's where the community comes in, where I'm saying they were forced to. Because this thing continued. And then when I couldn't do that anymore, on certain days when I thought, I can't stay, I need to go back home, I would go home. So I was unsupervised. The whole time they are not at home, I'm just doing my own thing. So I would go home and wait for her to come back. I didn't plan this. I think it's just a thought that came because I needed to survive. So she came back, and I now realized when she comes back, she's drunk. She doesn't remember things. So I started stealing from her.
But, okay, we'll go back to the stealing. You mentioned an issue about a friend who had the mother living in the village.
Yes.
Okay, you wanted to say something about that?
Yes. So when you expose a girl child to situations like that, what always happens is that someone will try and take advantage. So her dad now sent them off to sleep early, and I stayed, and I hadn't left. And so
this is what time?
Almost close to midnight. And I keep going back to that situation, to that scenario, even now, grown up, and I realize how God protected me.
Okay.
Because he just touched me, and then he said, go home. It's actually this is like the second time maybe I've spoken about it, because sometimes it feels so irrelevant to talk about it, because it happened when it's just the two of us, and I left and I never spoke about it for years. I never brought it up until I had my own children. That's when I started seeing that as something that I can't leave my children to. So it became more real. But before then, I think I suppressed it and didn't want to.
What did he say to you? What did
he said nothing. I was in his house.
He sent his kids to sleep.
Because I was in his house. We had finished eating, and he just sent his kids to sleep, and it was just me and him in his sitting room. He could have done anything. He could have done more than what he did. Nothing else. Because he touched my tender breast. We're still just starting. I was 11. And then he said to me, go home. I think he realized in his head he was about to do something that was very wrong.
So what went through your head as you were going home?
Nothing. That's just the thing. When you are at that age, there's a lot of, maybe it was because back then we were not very aware of what the children of this age are. No one sat down with us and taught us these things. Don't let anyone touch you. It was always stay away from men. That was the only thing that we were told. And then at that age, I was too young to be told that. And I didn't have anyone to tell me. So I just went home. I'm sure I was a little bit confused, but it didn't faze me for too long. I forgot about it and I carried on. But I stopped going to this house, which means something in me told me I wasn't safe anymore, because I stopped going to that particular house and I found another house to go to. And then there was a time when they decided, my grandfather decided to put a lodger. We only had 2 rooms. They put a lodger in the other room.
Is this before or after you started stealing?
So this was all happening in the same time. It was a lot. There was a lot going on. So now, because I can't go to this home, I now was hungry. So when she came back, I realized if I take the food and eat, she's not going to remember how many she had. I mean, like the first week I had a feast. I was eating zungu. I was eating the Russian sausages. Back then the Russian sausage was really nice.
Yeah.
I would eat that. So was choosing. I would take zungu, put in a plastic for tomorrow, and another sausage for tomorrow. Another one I would eat then when she was sleeping. I even started taking money, because she had to have all her coins in her little bag. But she would just come and put everything in the house, and then she would go off to sleep. And when she wakes up the next day, I'm gone. I've already left for school. And so she never actually caught me on that one. She didn't. It's just that what happened is she started not liking me and the responsibility she had to be. So on weekends, everything changed. She would come first. She would meet my grandfather at the beer hall. That's where he would come to before he came home, and told him all sorts of long stories about me. And by the time he comes home, he's already angry because he's been told. And she is saying, I'm doing you a favor. This is not my grandchild, but I'm taking care of her. And she's naughty. She doesn't listen to me. She doesn't do this. There were no dishes to do. I wasn't eating at home. I had no reason to be sweeping the room. It was one, and it was always clean. So
meals weren't catered for. We were talking about from breakfast. She had no idea.
I would leave the house before she woke up. I would come home. She was already gone.
She had no idea how you were surviving.
She had no idea.
So how would she term it taking care of you? She gave you a roof.
Because no one would find out what she was doing. It was just the 2 of us.
Okay.
So what would happen during the weekend is when my grandfather came home, she would buy half bread. I would be sent to the tuck shop and buy half bread, and then they would make tea. Then I would have proper meals during the weekend, because my grandfather was there. So that was Saturday.
This went on for how long?
For that whole year, until I finished writing my exams. So my mom died in June. I came back soon after burying my mom. So from June until December, after I finished my exams, I was with them. I only went back to Harare after schools had closed. Okay. So it was about 6 months of that.
Okay, that's a lot to capture.
It is.
So you'd basically wait until the weekend to actually have meals at home.
Yes, I wasn't looking forward to it. There is a part when my grandfather was now angry, he would come home and be beating me up the whole night. To a point where one day, so this is a drunk guy hitting an 11-year-old for things that she didn't do. And at one point, my step-grandmother actually said to my grandfather, no, to my uncle now in Harare. So now I don't know why she was so spiteful like that. But her intention was for everyone to believe I'm such a terrible child. So she told my uncle where I'm supposed to go, the only other home I can be in, that I was sleeping around, and she had taken me to the hospital to be treated for an STI. And I'd never been with a man. I didn't even have a boyfriend. I didn't even know what it is to have a boyfriend. I used to play in the street with my dress in my panties. That's how young I was. That's the worst of things that I would have done. Yeah. Playing in the street with my thighs out. And that way it went round. Unfortunately, people like to believe these things. So it was believed. But it was,
and you're 11.
Yes. What it was stemming from is that the last born in my mom's house had gotten pregnant when she was 12.
Okay.
So people believed that if she got pregnant when she was 12, she must have started at some point. So I'm following suit because we were almost of the same age.
Were you
and
big
I'd grown up
boned?
with
Did
her.
you have a big body?
No, I was tiny. I only had proper breasts when I was like in Form 2.
And you mentioned something about them putting a lodger, somebody to rent.
Yes.
Okay.
So
there must be a story there. Tell me about that.
There was the good thing about this lady was nice. She was really a kind lady. She just had a new baby, and so I loved babies. I've changed now. I think it's because I've gone through it. I can play with babies now and send them back. But when I was young like that, I loved babies so much. So I used to spend now most of my time with their maid, taking care of the baby. I loved even washing. That's how I learned to wash nappies.
Okay.
Now we used to have like proper white nappies, the towel nappies. I would wash. I loved anything to do with the baby, and it really is what consumed me for that season. I came home looking forward to that. So the only disadvantage of it is that we had an issue in our room where my step-grandmother was bedwetting, but she was never taking out her blankets. I had incidences of bedwetting as well, but in most cases it wasn't me. I slept under their bed. Like the room was tiny, so I was here, the bed was here. So every time, because her bed was soaked, it would drip and come to my blankets.
Oof.
So it was, and sometimes I used to think, how come? But I'm dry. How are my blankets wet? She never admitted. We only found out later on that that's the problem she had. But before that, no one ever knew. She kept that a secret.
What about hair blankets? Like,
No, she just slept in them. She came home drunk and she would just sleep in them and then wake up the next day and bath and soak. I never saw her drying her blankets. There was a smell, but I think I was too young to be conscious of it.
Because imagine, you were teaching Dagwa.
Maybe she would take the blankets out when I was at school.
Oh, maybe.
Then put them back before I arrived. Because remember, I was leaving the house at dawn to go to school, and I would only come back later in the afternoon. But there was a day when I actually noticed that it was dripping from under the bed. I came back during the day, and I noticed that is what was happening. And that's when I realized, no, actually, it hasn't been me this whole time. So that was one of the greatest disadvantages. But it also was an advantage because now I could get to my food without having to come into the next room. We were all in that room, together. So that, it's mostly good.
Yeah.
The fact that we had someone in the other room, because now I had other people taking care of me.
And obviously they would, you would be more time cautious. They can't allow you to be late.
Home, and then towards the end of the year, I wrote my exams. And
how did they come out?
Could have been better, but the truth is I didn't study for anything. I just went to school. And my year had already been spoiled because at the beginning of the year, I had come from Harare. It was an A school that I was coming from. My English was good. My subjects were okay. And they were happy with me and they wanted to make me a prefect. But also, because my mom was staying with her boyfriend, he bought me uniforms and, to start going to school, and they were living together. And they had a fight, and he burned the uniform. So after he burned the uniform, I had to wear clothes to school. And according to the school regulations, it looked like I was being rebellious. My mom, I think, was in a state where she was not able to come to the school and say, please pardon my child. She's going to wear clothes because she doesn't have her uniform, and she couldn't afford getting me another uniform, so she didn't say anything. And I kept going to school in my clothes. No one stood up for me. Until then, they just said we can't have a prefect who doesn't wear her uniform, and it really just demotivated me. And in the end, I was just turning up at school because I had to. I had to turn up for school. So I finished the whole year just going to school because people go to school, but I would come back home and play and go where I felt I I would be welcome, and I would find survival. And in all that, I just escaped a whole lot of other incidences of being abused, even without me knowing, because I was so exposed. I was in homes that I had no business. I had friends everywhere, but they were not friends. They were people I knew I needed backup. But
you were just clinging on to them because you needed to survive.
It was not a conscious decision. It was one of those survival instincts things that you just go. When I look back, I see that it was because the survival instinct in me was making me, just do all these things. I think I was the child that was always in everyone's home, because there was no home to go back to, really. I would just go back home eventually to sleep. And so that year ended. My results were, I had 15 units. I failed maths the most. I think I had 9. That we were the first group of students to write the
4 subjects.
4 subjects,
okay.
Yes. So I had 9. And maths, my Shona was not so bad. My English, I think, was a 2. And something else was a 3. So I had 16 units altogether. Okay. It wasn't so bad, but I could have done better. I think I could have done better. And so that was it. That was the end of the Masvingo era. And now I had to go to Harare and start high school.
Now you're with your sisters?
I'm with So after, in these 6 months, while I'm going through what I'm going through, my sisters have been moved back to their dad because he was still around. So they were taken to Nyazura. That's where they came
and you had different dads, yeah.
Yeah. So Nyazura or Sape, somewhere here in Mutare. That's where they were taken. My youngest sister was she hadn't started school when my mom died. And the other one was, because she's 4 years younger than me, the one who followed after me. So when I was in about grade 6, I think she was in about grade 3, grade 4. Okay. So she was young, and the other one must have just started grade 1. But because we didn't see each other after my mom died, when I came to my uncle, they were already gone. So I'm coming to my uncle because I'm the child with nowhere to go. That's what I'm already seeing, is they went to their father, but I have nowhere to go, so I've come here. Okay. And needed to find a place to go to school. So I started going around looking for a place for school. I looked for my own place. Schools popped up, and I was told, go and try there, go and try there, go and try there. So
all in Harare.
I ended up at Manyame High.
Okay. That's
Chitungiza. Yeah. We were staying in Waterfalls Prospect. That's where I ended up. I'm grateful.
Okay. But there's, at least it's a highway.
Yeah.
Second road, Waterfalls in.
It is. Yeah. So I would like to say this before we carry on, because certain things happened that were not just to me. But I don't want to discredit the good that was done. I was given a home, and I may not have been loved the way a child should have been loved, but I was accommodated. I don't want to sound ungrateful.
Yeah. No, when things, there's a right, and then there's a privilege. Sometimes when it's a privilege, and it's no gonna go funga kana kukanganwa kuti it's not a right to be there.
Exactly.
All right, what we'll do is we'll continue with this. We'll talk about this next chapter of her life after the break. Imagine the difference. See the images. Picture the motion. Are you looking for quality photography, videography, even drone shots? Look no further than Trouble Photography. Get in touch with Trouble on the action line 0785 360 396. Let your memories be a memory, not just a memory without a memory. Picture this, Trouble Photography. All right, and we are back, and we are in the second phase of her life. This is teenagehood. All right, we were talking about you being thankful. At least I've got a roof over my head and what have you. So what went wrong?
Life, the whole setup. Like you said, you mataurira wazviita, there's a difference between a privilege and a right.
Yeah.
I never looked at it that way.
Okay.
Ndachimboziva kuti pandinozvifunga ndinoziva kuti it was a good thing that I had a home, but I think I wanted a little bit more than maybe what I was privileged for. But even then, Panapa, I want to talk about a very special person. Mbuya vangu, anjadzi mukadzi wa mai vangu. She was the most amazing woman in my life.
Wait, anjadzi mukadzi.
Yeah, my uncle, anjadzi ya mama vangu, mukadzi wavo.
Okay.
She had a heart of gold.
Okay.
She had her own 4 kids and her home was open. Taigara takawanda zvekusvika kuma 11 in that house.
Okay.
And vaitida tese, vaitichengeta zvakanaka, vaimeka sure kuti tadya taguta, vaiita everything. Sekuru wangu vaiprovider the best that he could. But yeah, he would also go on his dry seasons and she stood with us. And vaimira neni, mbuya wangu I felt like vakamira neni stereki even time dzekuti sekuru vangu vaneta. So remember, we're talking about when I was in Mashingo, ndichibva ndanzi tamurapisa an STI because ari kuita musikanzwa yevarume. Sekuru wangu hung up on that. So when I came to Harare now, I was under discipline. It was I had to be disciplined and be controlled and be put in place because I had been sleeping around. I don't know how they came to believe that, but they believed it. Ndakatanga kunzi unogera zuda, uchengete bvudzi, haupfeki matrauzi, you don't go out, you know, I was just at home the whole time. It's typical in most African homes, parents are like that. So it didn't feel like they were being fair to me directly. The only thing is they were doing it for wrong reasons because vaifunga kuti ndine musikanzwa yandanga ndisina. So iwo kwavari yanga iri a way of keeping me. It did help me. I would like to say in the end wazokura unozoona kuti apepe danda kavhurirwa maybe zvakaperera pasiripo. But even though vaizviita for the wrong reasons, but it also worked out for good.
Yeah.
Time yacho yoyo. But mbuya wangu vakamira neni stereki. Vakamira neni stereki. Vaindida zvekuti ndainyatsofila kuti I'm at home because of her. You know, sometimes ndaitombo semwana ndaitomboti hama yangu chaichayo ndisekuru here kana kuti ndimbuya because mbuya vaindida. You know, saka ndakagara navo from that time yandakawana nzvimbo yangu ndikaita form 1 kumanyame, form 2 takaita issue yekuti school fees yanga isingabhadharwi. So every time ndaidzinga kuchikoro I was sent back home. So form 1 ndakapedza, fees yanga iri late every time, ndichienda kuchikoro ndisina pamwe mabhuku asina kukwana. And that didn't happen to just me. I think background yasekuru wangu yanga isingakoshese education.
Okay. And you are a woman.
Even my
back
cousins.
Then.
Even my cousins vana vavo vaiononokerawo kuvabhadharira school fees. So it was not directed to just me. Vaitononokawo vana vacho votombodzingwa vozovabhadharira. You know. So that was just the way he was in regards to that. But it's very affected the way yataienda kuchikoro and the way we would love to be in class and participate. Form 1 ndakatanga kuita fashion and fabrics. Jira rekutosona chairo ndakazotengerwa na teacher because I kept going home chingoti jira rangu riri kudiwa kuchikoro vanga vasingatengi teacher vabva vazotenga. So the painful part about it is I made a really nice garment. A really nice garment, and garment iroro I didn't bring it home. Vakazvimezha measurements avo a night dress, vakacheka size yavo, vakandibatsira ndikacheka size yavo, ndikarisona rikabuda rakanaka. she took it because it was her material.
Yeah.
She just wanted me to have the experience of sewing, but I couldn't take it home with me and show off kuti
I did
this is what I did.
Yeah.
So it was painful for me kuti ndakapedza term yese ndichisona chinhu chandisina kuya nacho kumba. But you know, it appears like it's things that are not important, but tiri vana, you remember these things and they make you inferior when you are in school. With uyu ndiye uya anenge asina chakati anodzingirwa fees. Pandakaona kuti ndikunyanya fees, there was me and 2 other girls takaramba tichidzingirwa fees for a long time into the term. Uchiti ukaenda kumba uchinotaura kuti ndadzingirwa fees, nothing happened, no one was moved. Kusvikira ndisingacharegedzi kuenda kuchikoro, ndaingonzi enda, so ndaingomuka ndoenda, ndandisingachasviki kuchikoro, ndaingosvika patinosangana nevamwe vangu ivavo vaidzingwawo toregedza kupinda. We used to use mabhazi eAir Force, ndoaititora kuenda kuchikoro. Tata kungoavoida bhazi reAir Force because rinotisiya pachikoro chaipo chaipo. Tosangana patinosangana, we would go to Coca-Cola in Harare. So
Sunningdale.
Yes.
That whole big space area, Baba.
Yeah, the reason I'm smiling about it is because it's not we survived it.
Okay.
We learned to be beggars. So we went to Longman in Itaba Books. Because the other reason we were being kicked out of school is because we had lost my textbooks that we needed to buy and we couldn't afford them, and the parents just were not doing anything. So there was 3 of us. So we went to Longman. We actually went by the gate, young as we were in our uniforms, and we tried to get in to say, can we please have textbooks? We lost textbook at Chikoro. Saka tuda kudini kuma replace. We thought somehow they would feel sorry for us. Votipa mabhuku aya. But that didn't happen. So taka progressa from there, we started asking people for money in the street. We never really got any money. But we pulled that stand for about a couple of weeks.
Okay.
And no one found out because apananga ari kutarisa kuti vanhu vari kusvika kuchikoro here, vanhu vari kudzoka kumba here. Kuchikoro tanga tichingonzi vakagara kumba because takavadzingira fees. Kumba vanga vachingoti vari kuenda kuchikoro because tiri kuvati endai chero tisina kubhadhara. So ndakatadza kunyora ZJC gore iroro because school fees yanga isina kubhadharwa and exam fee yainozombobhadharwa. So ndakaita form 1 form 2 kumanyame, but handina kunyora form 2. I couldn't go back there form 3 because ndanga ndane chikwereti ine ndandisina kunyora, so it meant repeating. Saka ndandisingachadi kudzokorodza. Well, I didn't think it was a choice I had to make, but I felt like it was up to me to make a decision for my own education. Even though mumba mandaigara manga muine vanhu close to more than 6 adults.
Okay.
Who would have been able to make that decision, but they would not be bothered. Vamwe vacho vaiuyawo kuzochengetwa nambuya vangu, like I'm saying, taigara takawanda. These people had jobs and families back in their homes.
Okay.
But they would come and leech on my uncle. They would just stay in our house and eat in our house.
It was like what? The oldest in the family or what?
No, because he wasn't. He was just the one who had space in Harare. Oh. You know, he had space. So everybody coming from Kumusha, back in the day, everyone Kumusha. Even vamwe vanatete vaiuya kuzotengesa dovi ravo muHarare vaisvikira ipapo nemabhaketi avo. Taingovaona vasvika, vangu vasingatauri kuti tichauya, taingoona vasvika votengesa dovi ravo vogara 1 week 2 weeks vopedza kutengesa vozoenda.
Okay.
You know, then there were the people that were permanently there, vakauya vachiti tauya tawana basa muno muHarare, and they would go kubasa vachidzoka vachienda. Ina handizoziva hangu kuti financial contribution yaivepo here because ndandiri mwana. So I didn't know kuti vaiuyawo nemuriwo here wekubika kana kuti chii. All I know is ndaiona kuti some days mbuya wangu vari kuremerwa because she was that kind of woman who wanted to make sure kuti vanhu vadya ende vadya zvakanaka. You see. Okay. And then my uncle would find his freedom in going to be with his girlfriends at some point. You know, so when he would have his time to just enjoy his life without being at home. Nyango kuchirema say. Do
you also not feel like he was justified?
I can't say he was justified. It was mostly his relatives he needed to deal with the situation at home instead of running away from it.
Okay.
Yeah, because I also know men who would still leave their wives with no one else at home. They would still go and be with other women. So I don't think it was good enough reason. He didn't need that window. He was just being a guy. But then all I'm saying is when he went there was quietness and peace, which my aunt never got because we were all in her face, you know. So, what was my point? Where was I going?
I'm trying to capture it. There were too many people in the house, yes. And at the same time, fees was not paid. You didn't write your ZJC.
So I didn't. Yes, that's where I was. So that year I stopped going to school. But the following year, you can't just let a child sit at home. People talk. If you just let a child sit at home. So ndakazonzitsvaga study group. You know, an idea came up, so I found a study group, a primary school that was teaching high school lessons during the day. So that's where I started going in Mbare National. So that's where I would go. I would walk from Waterfalls. I would cross all the way to Mbare to go to school. And that's when I wrote my ZJC that year. And in that same year, I had a boyfriend.
Now, right, yeah. After all.
No, like now they were right. So I had a boyfriend. And towards the end of, that first year was fine. I finished my ZJC. Now I needed to go and do my Form 3. And in that year, first term, fees was not paid. Second term, I kept going, fees was not paid. And we used to use, the rapid results textbooks.
Yeah.
Those were the books we were using. Those are the ones that we were using. So we used to pay for those so that they could come to the school. So once you've paid for them, your books come and you learn from there, and then you are able to carry on. Those were not paid. The teachers were, I think, renting space at the school, and they would come and teach us. If you don't pay the fees, then it means they are not going to be paid. So okay. I was not able to go to school anymore that year, second term. So now that I'm not in school, I can't see my boyfriend anymore. So now we had to make a plan to see each other.
Hakuna
mafoni. It's like let's meet tatine mutu wedu wataisangana wanga usida hawo muhacha, but we had a tree. I think wanga mutu we or something.
Okay. And the timing.
So we would tell each other, so day rakati tosangana pakati, you know. I was so innocent. I remember this boy, it took him months and months to even be able to just get a hug. You know, and eventually the kiss just never came for the longest of time. And then one day he came and we planned properly, and then he said, no, I want you to come, because now I'm not in school.
Yeah.
But he is in school. He's now doing his O levels, and I'm sitting at home with no plan of am I going to go to school or what's going to happen to me. I couldn't bring up any. I didn't have the courage to talk to any grown-up and say, so what's going to happen to me now that school fees hasn't been paid and I'm not going to school? It's
clear you're no longer going to school.
So ndakaenda kunoona mukomana wangu, we spent the day together. And then I came back. But when I went, I told a relative. And then when I came back,
the relative snitched.
She snitched. And the thing is, I don't understand why, but people can be spiteful for no reason. I think she didn't like the idea that I was an extra to this family, and she was the wife's relative. So she snitched. My uncle comes back and he was like, you were not here today. This is the day you will die. That's how bad it was. I have marks on my body. Sekuru wangu vairova netambo yemagetsi. Ndo yavairova nayo. And that beating happened a lot. It was just how he disciplined. That's how he used to discipline. I used to think
but I think during
normal.
during that era it was normal.
I thought it was normal. I thought it was normal. And he would vaibuditsabanga, you know, vanga vari mukomana we. So he was vanga vari mucomrade sekuru wangu, like a serious one. He had guns in the house, gun cabinet full of guns. So he would say, "Ndokupfura, yombo buditswa yombo koko." And then, you know, one day, ipapapo wakabuditsa banga. You know that big knife, like with army prints, and I was like,
like those that.
So I tell him, I know I'm not allowed to have a boyfriend, but I'm about to die here.
Okay.
So we're like, no, I was with my boyfriend. Oh, why she? I'm like, taenda umbako. Iya angangondidaidza kumba kwavo. Taenda umba kwavo, tadini, tatandara. Oh, dzokera. I'm 14.
Okay. And what did you do to that? Did they escort you? Okay.
They took me back.
You directed them to the house.
They took me back because we had slept together.
At that time, you're not innocent.
At that time, no, I wasn't.
Okay.
I wasn't.
Do you think it was justified?
No, because I still didn't know what happened.
Were you protected?
No.
Were you going to handle it? Were you going to handle it?
Okay, I've shared this with my kids.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe it'll be useful for some of the young girls out there.
Okay.
But no girl leaves the house and say, today I'm going to lose my virginity.
Okay.
Some girls maybe, but not every girl does that. And when I went there, I was in my space of being naive. I was just going to visit my boyfriend.
And it was the comfortable space. He was your comfort zone.
His reason for bringing me was to meet his tete. And you know, kuona tete kwaikosha. Waitonzi weone tete vangu vada kukuona, waitofunga kuti hadafa ndarorwa. And I always, in my head, thought every boy I dated would marry me. I never saw beyond that one boy. I would see, you know, ndakutororwa. Saka, I got there, one thing led to another. I had no idea what this boy was doing. I promise you, at that moment, I had no idea I'm about to have sex. I didn't. It just happened, and he also was surprised when I screamed. Like, I thought you've done this before. I think it's because Nanda Kangwara and I used to talk too much, and he just thought she can't be a virgin, definitely. She cannot be. So he was just thinking he's doing with somebody who knows what's going on. But I was just following him and I didn't know what was happening. And then he stopped right there. So when I got home and this whole snitching thing happened, I ended up telling the truth. I just told them that's what had happened. So they sent me back to him. He's in Form 4. So I'm wrong. I'm 14 and I've just slept with a boy for the first time. He's 4 years older than me. That means he's 18.
Okay. Statutory.
You're sending me back to him to do what? He's in school. So this is where I feel like the unjust is where it actually started happening.
But if we go back to those times, was it not the norm? If a girl was caught to have been intimate,
it was the norm. And had it been your parents, had it been your mother, and your dad was never there, it's all right. What would she have done? She probably would have done the same.
So it wasn't your uncle?
No, it was the culture.
It was the culture. Okay.
It was the culture. I'm just saying, can people grow past the culture at some point? It was the culture.
Do you think we are ready to do that?
I know I am. I know I am. I will not send my 14-year-old to some men's house that I don't know just because they slept together. I think getting to know people is more important. That's how we are ending up with young people who are in marriages that are not working out all the time. Because they're getting into marriages, they don't know each other. Anyway, let me not...
How? Okay, let's go back to the time. You're 14. They send you back. They receive you.
This boy has no idea what's going on. We are by his father's house, knocking the door, middle of the night. There's 4 big guys saying, "Tawia ni mkazi wenyu." The father, Baba Mkomanoya, went into shock. He started bleeding, nose bleeding.
Seriously?
Right there. That's how bad it was for him. Because he was also raising his boys by himself. His wife had left him, their second wife. So I think it was hard for him to, when he was trying to really, my boyfriend was the youngest of the 3. There were 3 in Mbamau. So he started nose bleeding. But these guys left me there. They just said, "Tawia na yewa katenda." They turned around and they went. So I stayed in that family for a full month, up and down. I would go kwa Bamkuru, I would come back, and Pinda Matete, I would, and then my Atejara then said, "You can't stay here because, he did his own thing, he must deal with it." For that whole month, we were up and down, and then he was kicked out of the house by his parents, by his dad. I can see what you said. And mukoma wacho no vanga singachakwanisi kutichengeta because vanga vane family pressure kuti iwewe ndiwo kuwa accommodator. Obviously he was married, he had a child, and he had a family to take care of, so he also couldn't take full responsibility of me in his home. So I remember us sitting in the bush and me saying, "You know what," because now he was sick. He wasn't used to hard life. I mean, life was not easy, but I think he wasn't used to drinking water and sleeping, and we didn't have food. I seem to have been a bit tougher. We never really lived in the street, but for a night we were kicked out. We slept outside by the flats. We found a warm corner and we sat there and we slept there. Then the next morning we made a decision.
What was the decision?
We were separating. I'm going home to talk to my uncles and see if they can take me back.
All right, we'll finish this up a little later on. We'll take a commercial. Are you a recording artist? Are you a thriving business? Are you a struggling business? Are you looking to voice your vision? Then look no further than ImMe Sound. Get in touch with us at on 0777 313 458 for the quality sound, not forgetting equipment and all sound apparel. ImMe, the best sound in town. Tochisota Baba. All right, and we are back at still the ImMe Podcast, rejuvenated. As you can see, I just reloaded another Blue Lagoon. So energy. So yeah, Chiedza, talk to me. You ran away. Why does it sound like an escape?
Alright, nganditi ndakazopedzera ndatiza because ndaioneka ndisingabvumidzwe kuenda. So remember, when this lady took me in, it was rehabilitation. She felt like she was doing me a favor by taking me away from my home where I had done something wrong and now it was not acceptable. So this was an alternative. Okay. So to them, this was a punishment that I needed to complete. It felt like a trap. I couldn't get out of it.
You stayed there for how long?
I would say maybe 6 months.
6 months.
Because I remember that same year I had started school, didn't finish school, and so we were in December when this whole going to my boyfriend's house happened. It was December. And so I think she came and got me in January. I stayed, maybe not 6 months, maybe about 4 months. Okay. That's when I stayed. And ndakanda kuoneka ndichiti ndakuda kudzokera kumba because I thought I had the free will to decide kana ndisingachadi kugara navo kuti ndakuda kudzokera kumba. Basa ranga rakandiwandira. I felt overwhelmed.
Like you felt like this was even though you're related, this was a job, and then but you still at home. Your uncle's place was home.
My uncle's place was home.
Okay.
And so ndakaramba chiti ndodzokera kumba vanga vasiri kundibvumidza. They always had a reason for me not to leave. So one afternoon I just finished all my work and I just left like I was taking a walk, and I went to the house. Vakasara vakanditsvaga vakandishaya, ndakatobuda masikati kuma2. Ndakangoenda kumba. No, I didn't bring any clothes along with me. I left everything. Ndakangoenda kumba. Ndakasvika kumba, I didn't say anything. Ndakangoti ndauya kumba. Kwanga kusina vanhu vakuru, so I stayed. Then vakazonditsvaga kusvikira manheru, vatoona kuti vandishaya. Vakazouya kumba kuzoti vauye kuzotaura kuti mwana hatisi kumuona. Vakasvika vakaona ndakatogara ndichitofara ndichitodya nevamwe. Kumba kwacho hapana chandataura kuti ndatiza. Handina kutaura kuti ndauya ndisina kubvumidzwa. Vakangoti uri right, aiwa tatiri worried, zvatakuona zvanaka. So she now knew kuti ndandaneta, and because I had mentioned it before kuti handichada, vakangoziva kuti mwana atoya kumba zvichaita kuti ndimutore. Ozoya uchitora hembe dzako kubva vadzokera. Ndobva ndazongoenda bva ndanotora hembe dzangu ndibva ndauya kuzogara pamba pasekuru vangu. So ndagara pamba pasekuru vangu, vanga vaina maid achibva aroorwa. It just so happened I stayed with them for a bit. Vaina maid ndichibva ndazotsvagawo inini basi, because now ndanga ndangogara pamba and sitting at home. Handizive kuti at that age how did I come to feel like that, but I suppose I matured with everything that had been going on. Remember, even when my mom was alive, ndanga ndagara ndiri kudzidzira kutengesa to make money and earn a living. So I just felt like, all right, andingangorambi ndakagara panapa, let me get a job. So ndakabva ndatsvaga basa remumba. Ndakatanga kutorwa namai mufundisi wekuchechi futi. Ndakaenda ndikanogara navo ndichivasenzera. And we were okay. Taisenza tese zvakanaka. I thought I loved. They had one son, and I chengeta. Things happened there. I think it's a story for another day, but it's something that I would like for us to talk about at some point.
Can't you summarize it?
I'll just summarize, because it's something that has carried over in the years, even up to now.
Yeah. So it was like the basis, the foundation.
You see. So now, I'm not a virgin anymore. I've moved back home. Now I am living with another woman who is married. And so there's that belief here, Guti, once a person gets to be with a man, that's what they'll continue to do, or they are not safe anymore. So there's a whole lot of insecurity that comes with a woman who's known to be with. So I moved in. Then one of the ladies who at a fellowship, pretty privileges are not privileges all the time.
True.
I was young, naive. I didn't realize I was a beautiful young woman. My beauty was something I was never told growing up. No one ever came up to me and said, "You are so pretty." Everybody didn't want to talk about my beauty or whatever flawless things that were on me. They just never talked about. They just hated on it. So, vakabva vatanga kunzi muchatorerwa murume muri kugara sei naye, because vaienda out of town vachinoita zvavanenge vachiita vachizodzoka kumba, muchatorerwa murume. When that insecurity was planted in her, vakatotsvagawo story.
Okay. Ava ndimai mufundisi.
Ivo vakabva vatsvagawo story yekuti ndibve pamba pavo. Vatsvaga story yekuti ndibve pamba pavo, zveshuwa ndakazopabva. But ndakabva zvisingachatauriki zvakanaka. Zvakuita kunge ndandichiabuse mwana wavo, handina kubata mwana zvakanaka. But mwana is the one thing that I did right of all the things. Pamwe ndaizototi ndatadza kuwacha kana ndatadza kutsvaira mumba kana kuti ndatadza, but mwana ndaimuda. I would never have done anything to the child, but ndo mabudiro azvakaita. So ndakazongorongedza ndikadzoka kumba. After that ndakabva ndangodecide kuti handisi kuda kushandira vanhu vemuchechi anymore, because it wasn't, because in that working with that woman, pana ndichigara kumba kuya kwandakabva ndisina kuoneka, I also met someone in the church, a guy. He was young, but he seemed like he genuinely liked me. I don't know why, but in such a young age, I was getting into serious relationship. Like, it was felt serious. This guy akatoenda kunotaura kuti ndiri kukuda, ndikati isusu panapa tinoita zvekuenda kuvafundisi what, and he was willing to follow the whole procedure. So he followed the whole procedure according to how it's done. But this same mfundisi has developed kakusandifarira. So vakazomuti iwewe angazoenda kubulawayo kuchikoro tatodanana a whole year. He really liked me that much. Ndobva vamuti, how do you trust that she's going to be faithful to you? You know she's not a virgin anymore. So I lost that boy because of that statement. Akatanga kusabatika. Inini ndobva ndango decide out, since he's not available anymore, let me just cut things off. Ndobva ndango muti no, it's fine, because akanditi mira ndimbopedza chikoro, but I knew that it was a stalling. It was not a mira ndipedze chikoro yemashuwa. Something had happened. I could tell.
Something had been said.
I could tell. Although yanga singati kubuda pachena, so I just did.
Did you later find out?
Oh yes, and what I'm saying now is something he told me later. Takazosangana 22 years later, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So, and then he told me.
We are continuing. We're still at 14.
We are still at 14. So now we're going into 15. And so now I go back home and I find a job with another family. And I worked with them and I stayed there. It was work. I was now able to carry myself as a proper maid. This was like a proper maid job, wearing uniforms and everything, taking care of the whole home. I liked that there was no one discrediting me in this home. They were crediting me for the good that I was able to do. They appreciated my work, corrected me where I didn't do it right, because it was just genuine and sincere. It wasn't coming from a place of takambonzwa neshaki. They didn't. So now I had this thing of, I'm not a virgin. It's a badge on me. I'm not a good person. I don't deserve anything. I won't be married. No man will ever love me. I won't be, I carried that around. And it's something I was also trying to hide very much. So being in this home where no one knew about it was a good thing for me.
It was comfortable.
Yes,
people judged you for your own mistakes.
So ndakashanda this family until then I met my ex-husband. Because then with this guy we had broken up, but Pandaka moved into that house, we were together, we were still together. Taka break up after that. And then I met my husband, Ipapo, and I was turning 60. So we dated for 6 months. I think the relationship was a bit escalated in the way it happened because he was more mature than me. I didn't know his age. He just didn't look his age. He looked very young.
Okay.
Like almost maybe I would say I would have thought he was 4 years or 5 years older than me. But he was 11 years older than me.
Okay.
Ndakazozvidiscover ndakutogara naye. Ndatosangana nechitupa chake ndichirongedza mumba. My goodness.
Did you ask during courtship? Did you ask?
No, I didn't.
It's just, this is my guy, I'm his girl.
I mean, he liked me while I was still seeing the other guy. And I kept saying to him, I don't feel the same way, I've got someone. So when this someone went away, he found out. Because, we talk about these things. We shared a home with some of his family members. So he found out. So now he was really just putting pressure, knowing it's just going to be me. And now because of that thing, that's the first thing I told him. I said, but I'm not a virgin, right? You have to know that. And he was like, no, I don't mind. And I thought, what an angel. I found a guy who likes
At
me. At
least for me.
For who I am, the way I am, unworthy, And so I think because of that, I didn't look at anything else. I just thought, he wants me, without that one thing that everybody thinks is the most important thing that you can't lose in this life and still be normal. So I thought, he wants me, so let's do this. So we dated. 6 months later, he came to the house, met the uncles. He would pick me up. He was a family friend. So his cousin brother and my uncle had gone to war together. So they were very close and worked together for many years. So they were very close like that. That's how they ended up living in our house. We were sharing a house where they were in the main house, we were in the cottage. Okay. So that's how he would come to visit his brother. That's how he noticed me.
Okay.
You see. So because of that, Zikanwa, he would come and pick me up, we would do church dates.
Okay.
Toenda tese ku church kwawo, whatever church he was going to, then I would come back home, but he was ready to get married. So he was sort of like escalating things. And then when he started talking about having a baby, I was like, I will
this is
die.
Moving fast.
I will die. My uncle will kill me. No, I was like, let's get married first.
Yeah.
If you really are talking, I don't know where he was getting that from, but he started talking about it. And so one day he picks me up. I go to his house and I do the laundry, what. I cooked, left his house. Then I went home. I got home. My uncle was not there. But mbuya wangu vakangotaura one statement that triggered me. Vakanditi wanga uri kupi? Sekuru wako vari kupopota vari kuvava zvisingaite. I have known my mbuya to be calm and not be too afraid.
Yeah.
And I felt like if she's feeling like this, I'm dead. Today
then whatever is coming my way,
but also because now I was feeling secure with this guy, kuti he wanted me. Pandakatobva paakatondikwidza bhazi. Taikura mabhazi mazuva achona iwoyo kuna kumalocation kwaienda matata nema-AVM. Kwanga kusina makombi netumota tudiki. Kwangu
nemazaifamba netime waizoti pabus stop enyinofura nakota past 7.
But kwangu nemabhazi mota dziya dzataigara tiri 4 kumashure ma544. So ndakakwira bhazi ndikasvika mutauni ndikaburuka ndikakwira bhazi rekuenda kumba. Akandipa $10. Akati well, if anything happens, you might need this money. Unongodzoka kana ukasvika vachipopota bosi ndakaita kuti ndanonoka kuenda nasi. Wadi kundiperekedza. Iye anga akutya kundiperekedza bosi ndanga ndasvibirwa ndina. So he also knew the kind of people I was going back to. So ndakasvika kumba kuya ndakanzwa statement iyoyo. Handina kumirira verdict. Ndakabva ndarongedza.
Okay, here we go again.
Twangu mukabhegi. Pandakakanda. So windo ranga rine mabhagla bhazi ndandisiri kutombokwanisa kubuditsa bhegi. Ndaibuditsa hembe one by one ndichikanda nepawindo. Ndobuda ndoenda ndonoitora ndoisa mbegi. Ndobuda ndonoitora ndakarongedza tuhembe twangu. Ndobva ndatorova road. Straight kubva kumukomana ndasvika. Iye ndobva ati we have to take you back. I'm not ready. I'm like makamanguda mwana manje apa. How are you not ready now that I'm here? So
pane zvimwe zvinonakidza kutaura kati arumeka pane zvinakidza kutaura, but reality strikes, you're like yo.
That's what I noticed ipapo. So landlady vanga vachindiona ndichiuya all these months that we'd been together, ndichiuya ndichiwacha ndichibika ndichienda ndichiwacha ndichibika, vanga vakutoziva zviri kuitika kuti these people are together like that. So vakabva vati murume wavo ndiye anga asupposed kuperekedza
kuti
mukomana wangu kunondidzosera. Vakati ndiurayirwe murume. Vakangoita decision. I think it was two things. One, she felt for me as a girl child who she had noticed, because vakato mention out, but tati chimuona chuya panapa nguva yese achikuitira izvese. Saka muri kumudzosererei? Why are you feeling like you're not ready? Muri kunyanyomirira chi? Azviite kuti muende. Ndobva varamba.
Are you 16 yet?
I'm getting to 16 now. I'm like, this is
borderline.
This is December. I'm going to be 16 in April. So we spent the night.
So basically the cycle repeats itself. Mom had a baby at 15. You're getting into the second marriage. I have to say it. Almost second marriage at 15.
Second marriage at 15.
Yeah.
And so I never looked at it that way. Like I've been married twice already.
The first time you managed to last, 24 hours? How long was it? A month? 24 hours to a month?
Yeah, a month.
A month. The second one?
A month all over. Never really was a wife. Didn't do anything of the wifely duties. I was just everywhere. So
you guys never going back to the first one?
We just never, no.
There was no romance to...
What happened is that because we were in other people's care, we were never in the same space at the same time.
Okay.
He was still having to go to school,
And
I was at home, and he would come and visit me. But it was just one of those. Because the family was also very protective. They didn't want me to get pregnant.
Okay.
He was not working. So if we were left together and I got pregnant, now they were forced to be with me.
Okay.
So they were trying to find a way until I go back.
Okay.
Or until he's ready to take care of a family.
Okay.
So
we are here now.
We are here now. And the next morning, he now tells his relatives, then that evening we had a family meeting with his relatives. Welcome. You are now part of the family. Dr. Orwa. What to advise you need to start putting money together. Are you pregnant? No, I'm not. So why did you come? Because, things have been happening, and because of that, I can't be at home anymore.
If I don't come here, I'm going to be homeless.
I wasn't. That question still came. No, I wasn't. So you go into a family yavanhu vachingokuita kunge vari kukunzwira tsitsi kunge vakuaccepta usingadeserve, they don't say it every day, but it hangs over you, and every now and then it was a card that kept coming up, not with the relatives but with my husband. Whenever he was not happy with certain things, he wanted to remind me he did me a favor by taking me.
Okay.
So takabvatatanga kugara tese. That's me 16. And I gave birth to my child a year later, because I wasn't pregnant when I moved in with him. I only got pregnant after we had been together. So I gave birth Ndani 18 years.
Okay.
So I must have been turning 17 then when I moved with him, because we were together a few months, then I got pregnant, and then the 9 months of the pregnant makes it a year together, and then I had our first baby in 1997. It was okay. The marriage was okay, because I didn't know better.
Okay.
I had no experience of what it is to be in a marriage and what it looks like. The marriage I had seen was that of my aunt, who she was a working woman. She would leave the house at 7 in the morning, come back at 5, Maneru. And my uncle had all the freedom that he wanted to do whatever he wanted. He made the decisions. He went where he wanted when he came back whenever.
Babandi Baba.
He wasn't questioned. And if he was questioned, there would be fights.
Okay.
So I also started my marriage playing house. But most of the playing house was whatever my husband said went. Until ndatanga kukura umbichana kuti. But as a woman, you already know there's things that are instinct. You know, kuti ndine glass 1, I need to make them 6 because ndichaita vayenzi.
Yeah.
I've got 1 teaspoon, I need more because ndichaita vayenzi. You start want to build your kitchen. Even tichitamba mahumbwe sevana, tinoti idzi poto dzangu, aya maplates angu, all those pretend things. So when you get into a marriage, those are the things that become important for a woman, building a kitchen that you are proud of. So pakatanga kuita ma issues because I started suggesting things. But ndakatanga kusuggesta zvinhu kumunhu anga ari already in control and didn't want to lose the control. So me suggesting things meant I was starting to think for myself.
Okay.
And I was not allowed to do that.
How did that make you feel?
It taught me to do things behind his back.
We are going back to
back in the day, when I was feeding myself when my step-grandmother
we are going back there.
Was grandmother
Mama you're like, okay, I've got the notes already.
It's fine. I've done this before, different way, but let's do it. So what I did is I started selling vegetables behind his back. I would go kumaplaza ngari padhuze nekwataigara ndonohodha muriwo. Iye achingobuda kuenda kubasa, indobva ndatobuda kuenda kunohodha. Ndobva ndatotengesa muriwo, ndobva ndatoita kamari kangu, ndobva ndatotenga masipunu angu. Ndakamachengeta pasi pemubhedha, masipunu nemaplates nemakapu. Ndichingomirira kuti one day amene kuti ndaiti ndichamuudza kuti zvabva kupi.
Tatamba society.
So it's those small little things that we're building up. My major decisions nanga ndisingatomboiti think about kuti nditomboita decision of anything. We saved up money together, not with him. Me and my landlady, we developed she was a really constructive woman.
Okay.
She would
the same one that helped you.
Yes, she was a very
stay in.
Yes. So she would teach me things. Even by Sona for a living. Inini ndaida kuita hairdressing. That's what I wanted to do. I was a hairdresser. Ndairuka msoro kumba kwedu ndichitoita mari nazvo. I would relax people's hair. Mazuva taita, you know that relaxer yaipisa vanhu stereki yaya. Yeah, that's when I started doing hair. So I would relax people's hair. Tichiseta nemarollers vachigara pazuva kusvika vaoma. Kwanga kusina blow dryer.
Blow dryer.
Those ones over the head ones were only in the salon, but kwaidhura kuenda. So I was a hairdresser at home. People would come pamba pedu ndichitovagadzira musoro, ndichitovaruka, ndichiruka free hand, ndichiruka mabraids. Now ndarorwa. Ndakuti can I do that? Kanzonondipisira vanhu musoro wevanhu panapa. Handidi kuti uite izvozvo zvekuruka vanhu musoro ndezvemahuri. Alright, chindiendesa kuchikoro. I was told point blank. So I'm just sharing these things as we go, not in sequence.
Yeah.
If I must come back to something that needs like a proper timeline,
we'll take you back to that. Yeah.
Yes. But I'm just sharing the things that made the marriage difficult right from the beginning. I asked if I could go to school, and I was told it's not my responsibility to send you to school. Your parents should have done that.
Wow. This like how far into the marriage?
A couple of years.
A little later on, you're thinking, okay, I need to do something for myself.
And so I went to night school for a couple of months. It was difficult.
Without his knowledge?
With his knowledge. But what made it difficult is that I was too young. And so when I went to school, I was coming across men that liked me, but I was a married woman and I didn't know.
And we're back. We are sharing Chiedza's story. As you can see, I'm not my usual self. I'm usually very bubbly, too chichi. But there's so much depth in this story. I can't bring that side of me. So I'm a bit, Zichin. I'm contained. Yeah, I can't be too bubbly because we need to capture the whole story. You were explaining to me what you think went wrong in the relationship, in the marriage. There you are, a flower willing to blossom. You're thinking, I've gotten the opportunity now. I'm in my home. I can achieve all those things that I didn't. Now, yes. You're how many kids in at this time?
When I was 4 months pregnant, Chagenda on Aurora.
Oh, okay.
Just to take you back, there's a point to that. Mari vayaenda vayano viswa. Why I want to talk about this is because we are focusing on early marriages. And I want to bring that point out.
This is the second time. Damages have been...
You just have to remind me.
Because they're probably going to the same people.
Yes, yeah.
They're going to the same people,
went to the same people. So now, Maria enda yabadaro. And
again, let me hold your tongue a little bit. Maria Badarwa to your mom's family.
Yes.
But do they have the right to receive?
Well, at this point, yes. What are they supposed to do? Look for my father who doesn't want to be found.
That's an interesting one. I think at some point we'll get to talk about that one.
Yeah, but he's got a girl child somewhere in the world. He should have been.
But my point is, can I personally marry off my sister's children?
If you brought them up, yes. What do you tell? What do you tell? No, you can't marry to me just to ingotora yenyu muyende. We don't know the father. I'm incapacitated to receive that money. No, you're not. But they did everything. They played the father role.
All right, we'll come back to this.
We'll come back to that.
And that issue will have to we can't answer that issue today.
No, not today.
We can't. But Pachwanichedu, I have a feeling. This is why I just would like to go back, collect a matter, but demand of my damage. Let's leave that.
Let's leave that for today. So Maria Viswa. Later on, marriage yakurwadza zvinhu zvaoma. You know, you can't get out of this after munhu abvisa mari yake, because anotanga kuti but ndakaroora, but ndakazodai, but ndakazodai. And then funny point inoramba ichiunzwa nevanhu in most instances. So the kind of person I am is that lately I found myself in a space where I'm just doing me the way I feel like I should have had life happening. And then you have people who look at me and say, don't you think you should act your age? You should dress your age, you should. And I come up with this thing of, but no one ever told me to act my age when I was getting married young. Nobody said that.
Word.
The whole community just watched me.
They preferred to marry you off.
And married me off.
It's okay. I don't know whether to use the term as good riddance or.
For some, they didn't have to get rid of anything, but they were happy that I was now a woman in my own home.
Okay.
At that age,
probably the untold story or the untold emotion that this burden is off.
And then ndakatonzi mai vauya taunzirwa mai mumusha munomu ndakachengeta hama ndichidzibikira ndichidziwachira ndichivaitira zvese. I was doing grown up responsibilities at that age. 17, 18 I was. No one said to me act your age, because acting my age would have been going back to school and playing with the other kids my age, not giving birth to children and taking care of the family. So now here I am, 5 kids in, by the way, and I'm just starting to enjoy who I am. And I'm told, start acting your age. What is my age? How does that work?
I've got a gap to fill.
You know, it's not like I have a gap to fill, but I have a life to live.
Okay.
It's not about the years. It's just about me living a life.
No, I think this brings me to that whole a lot of people didn't understand how Michael Jackson enjoyed being a kid, but he was a child laborer, if you ask me, because he was working to feed his family, his whole family, because he was talented, and he never had the time to
play in the playground, like literally.
When he could afford the freedom, he said, "Okay, I need a Neverland. I need childhood
things." Those are the things he didn't have when he was growing up.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. You know, when people start saying act your age, dress your age. I was told you can't wear trousers, you can't keep your hair, you can't. Even after I got married, my husband was that kind of man. I had to fight to go back to who I was before I came into.
Do you know that from the beginning of the interview, you kept mentioning the you can't keep your hair aspect, but here you are.
And now here I am,
bold, owning it. What's the difference?
I think I finally found the freedom to, because there was, I think the need to have hair was pressure, because every girl has to have hair to look pretty. If our natural hair is not growing properly, and we braid it, we do everything to keep our hair and be pretty. We even do my weaves, we do my wig, but that's the standard of beauty for most women.
That's all you wanted.
That's all I ever wanted. And I've done all that. I've tried it all. And I've come to a place where I've realized that actually I'm just pretty as I am.
Yeah.
With no hair. And I've because I'm also a sports person, I don't like getting stuck in sweat.
Okay.
So I try very much to make sure that my head is shaved, because I like it like that. I feel.
Or did you get used to it?
I've gotten used to it. I didn't because I was being laughed at with other kids. You know, when you are bold, they laugh at you.
Yeah.
And bold, they would die.
I don't know what you paying.
Sit down and they would spread off with a razor blade. So it was not a nice bold.
Yeah.
This is a bold of choice. I get to go into the barber and say, can you do this cut with this blade?
Yeah.
You know, so it's different. And now going back to now the marriage and everything that went wrong. A lot of things happened. When you are young and you get married, worse off to someone who's older than you, there's a lot of things you don't see because you're not thinking ahead. So he's like 10 steps ahead and you're just following and you say yes to everything that's been said. But I developed a rebellion in my marriage. I must say, if he ever pointed a finger at me for doing anything wrong, it was because I was simply trying to find a life for myself within the marriage because there was no life.
So if you are when did you guys separate?
Oh, I left him several times before that.
Okay, the final nail.
The final has been 6 years now.
6 years. The big question is, who do you blame
for the whole thing?
Yeah, for the whole fallout.
I think there's a whole lot of people who contributed to this situation.
Okay, that's what I want to know.
Yes, firstly, I take responsibility for myself. Young as I may have been, but I did decide to fall in love with a boy. I don't know if I can call it fall in love, but I was with a boy at 16. And I thought it was, I can say my background was tight. I thought I was running to a better life. I'm not so sure.
You needed the escape.
I may have needed it, but I didn't see myself making that decision. So I can't entirely say I'm not at fault.
No, I can understand. I can understand. If you're in a tunnel and there's only one light,
you go for the light.
You go for the light. It's natural instinct. I can't tell you to do otherwise. So go for the light.
I followed the light, but the light dimmed very quickly. I think 2 years into the marriage,
it's like you follow the light and then you just tunnel and then it's night.
So 2 years into marriage, there was problems already. I had left. I left again. I think I left 7 times before I eventually left.
Okay.
But the whole time, now this is just to narrate the contributions of everyone into how it becomes everyone's fault. First and foremost, I'm young. I have a 16-year-old right now. I will not let any man marry her.
Okay.
No matter how much they say they are in love, I will say, I understand you are in love. I think you should give yourself more time to grow into the relationship. I would not say, I would not advise that. And I stand to be corrected, or I stand to have people wanting to shoot me for this. But if I found out my 16-year-old is pregnant and the boy is not capable of taking care of my child, I would rather keep my child and the grandchild. As much as I don't want that, it's not a choice I would make. But I would rather have that than have her go live in a home where there's going to be constant fights and there's trauma, and now she's forced to be a person she's not ready to be, because I see she's a child.
And if when you say not capable, do you mean financially? Do you mean emotionally?
They're the same age, or obviously emotionally, we never get there. We have ups and downs. Even people who've been married for more than 20 years.
So if God forbid, but if it so happens that they're 16 and the guy is stable enough,
I would just come out and say, I don't want my child marrying at 16.
Take care of them whilst you are there.
Of what circumstances are there, I think she's too young.
Okay, we'll move on. You've mentioned you are to blame, and
and my uncles,
those who allowed you to be.
No, if you are not pregnant, come back home.
Okay.
You know, you need to wait
for not making you feel welcome.
You see, they didn't fight for me as a child.
Okay.
They just let it happen. And
who else?
Yeah, my husband.
for meeting it. All right, and we are back. You were telling me who was or who is. Should we call it was or who is?
I think still is.
Still is.
Yes.
I thought you were living in the present. You left that behind.
I left it.
Yeah.
But it's something that I still find that it affects.
As demons that you're fighting presently as well.
It still affects. It's not just about me.
Yeah.
It's about every other young girl who is getting married even now. They are having to go through the same thing.
So we've mentioned yourself.
Yes.
I like that you took ownership. We've mentioned the uncles who married you off early. We've mentioned the husband who married you young.
We can even include the husband's family for taking me in. They could have said no.
But you were
take her
stranded.
back. No, I wasn't.
You were. Remember. Can we also blame the landlady?
No.
If we are blaming, how was she helping?
What we should having everybody helped to create this, but our system, or should I say the culture, is mostly to blame.
Okay.
Because it allows it. Even now, it would look normal for a 16-year-old girl to go and get married. And as long as the family is in agreement with it, then the world doesn't get involved. No one says anything. They will go and say Makorokoto Manaro at 16. You know, and they endorse it as a good thing. So our culture also hasn't protected the girl child. I'm not trying to be an activist of the girl child, but I'm being realistic of how it happens, because it happens everywhere and everyone keeps quiet. Also,
the boys, a boy makes a mistake, they're given a wife when they're a child.
Yes, that happens also, and they are given a wife when they're not ready.
Yeah.
And only because they also made a mistake. So
if you had a chance to do over, is there a part in this story that you'd change?
Yes.
Which part?
I would have waited. I would not have gotten married at 16.
Okay.
I would not have. As much as I know the community played a part in finding myself where I find myself, what I take responsibility for now is always making sure that when I speak to any girl, I tell them to wait.
Okay.
It always feels like I'm late. I'm 23, I'm 24, I'm late. I may never get married, I may not. But to be mature and be able to make a sound decision before you get into something like a marriage is important. So I stuck it out for 23 years. In those 23 years, it was in and out. When you are pregnant, you have no choice but to stay, because now you are pregnant with a second baby, and until that child is 2, you are just sticking it out, but life is difficult. And then before you know it, you've got 2 years, you're trying to find yourself and make it work, pregnant again. Now you are down again.
Okay.
And you have to, now there's 3 kids, there's 4 kids, now there was 5 kids. It took a lot of who I am to pull myself out. It actually went to a place where now I was dealing with depression. And I had to go on meds, I was on therapy for 2 years, only to stay afloat and be alive.
Okay.
So we don't see the consequences of allowing ourselves to be in a situation where you marry young and then you don't marry a kind man. He was not a kind man. He's a good father in terms of he was cuddly with his kids. He was just available.
Okay, probably.
But struggled to provide.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, that's a whole wanting to know the reason why I left in the end. But it's something we can talk about another time.
Possible. It's a thingy, accumulation of a lot of different things. What was the last straw? The last straw was in. And who left?
I left.
Okay, what was the last straw?
The last straw was when it was becoming, when I could see that whatever I had tolerated in my marriage, I used to justify and say, I'm not related to him. If he doesn't give me money to buy food, I can make a plan and feed the kids. If he doesn't pay the school fees on time, I can get a job and pay school fees on time so that the children... You remember, I'm now watching my children going through my own life.
Okay.
Fees not paid on time, there's no food at home. we are still living in a contained space where my children are on the floor, and you want to give your children a better life if you can. And I am a very resourceful person. I'm grateful that God gave me energy, lots of it, and I can work. I don't choose jobs. You give me a job, I do it. As long as it pays me and I'm able to take care of my children. I did people's laundries. I cleaned people's homes. That's how I survived. I used to sell vegetables. People that know me for doing that. I would go. I was multitasking myself and doing anything that needed to be done to make extra money, just so I can feed the children. And I felt like I was a married widow. I didn't want to say married single because he was there, but I felt like I was a married widow. Yeah. We survived on handouts.
So fundamentally, it all came down to the money.
It all came down to the money, but it got to the point where I watched his heart. It didn't bother him to see his children struggle. It didn't bother him to see his children being left behind. In terms of technology, homework is on the phones for everyone, but he was comfortable to just be the one with a phone in the house. And now everybody had to be saying, can we use your phone for this? Can we use? And when we did have phones for the kids, it was like Kambudzi Kayaka. And so my first child would be playing music on that. We had now moved to a place Kwanga Kusina Magetsi, and we had a small solar panel that was feeding into the battery. There was a whole battery and all this and all that. I was like, but this is just not even standard lifestyle for your children. We need to make it standard. We need to give our children something better.
Okay. Do you believe he was earning enough to be able to provide?
He wasn't working hard enough.
Was he earning enough?
At some point, yes. So he missed his chance.
But you felt he needed to do more.
So I never knew if he earned enough for a long time, because for the first 19 years we lived together, I didn't know his payslip. I didn't know what he was earning for the first 19 years. I only found out after I had left, and now our church leaders set us down, and now they were trying to help us. And I said, I don't know his payslip. I don't know what he earns. He just brings home whatever he wants to give me. So also at the back of my head, I always used to think he has a lot, he just doesn't want to give it. So up until that time, I didn't know how he was.
Maybe he was embarrassed to tell you he wasn't earning enough.
No, you can't be embarrassed.
You can.
You can either provide or you can't. But if then I was willing to help.
You were still not allowed to work, or were you allowed to work?
Now I was working by force. It was a matter of I do it and I don't care what you think about it. Then I come home and I face the attitude. So what happens is when a wife is not given permission to do something, we do it anyway because it needs to be done. But we carry the guilt in the home, and the husband uses that against us whenever they feel like so you live with that. It was now. So it's always causing the depression.
It always comes back to insecurities and all.
So now it was now causing the depression on my behalf, because I never felt like I could ever do anything to satisfy him, because even the working was to save him and the children. But it looked like I was doing it for me.
Okay, we'll get back to that one. And of course, we're back. It's still me and Chiedza is still in the building, and the story's been long.
Very.
In my stage, pane kindergarten, teenagehood, first phase of marriage, second phase of marriage, and now we're getting to. In fact, we dove into the divorce.
Yes.
And you were telling me about the last straw. And you were telling me that it was the idea that they didn't seem like they wanted to work hard enough. Did they give up? Did they?
There is his side of the story.
Have you ever taken time to listen to it?
Well, it took me 23 years to leave. So I had time. I also, in those years, had time to assess right from the beginning the things I thought would change that never changed. And I eventually settled to it won't ever change. But when it was just affecting me, like I was saying, it was okay. I could cover it up. And when it started affecting the children as they were growing, I could cover him up. You know, you also don't want your children to think they've got a bad father. So you cover him up in the things that he's unable to provide for, whether it's the affection or just the material things. Because ndo zvatinokura tichidzidziswa kuti munhukadzi anomira nemurume wake unomufukidza, you make sure that haafumuki, so I did all that until my children, the grown ones, started to see but tikataura chinhu dedava iti chinozoitwa namama, ichi chinenge chaitwa namama behind our back. And then now there was that factor where I realized I didn't want my children to think it's okay to be in an abusive relationship. Manga musina physical abuse, but manga mean a lot of emotional abuse and a lot of selfishness. Because what I saw now in the end is the guy who was getting everything he wanted in this setup. We were living in a place yanga isina mvura, yanga isina magetsi, and the girls were fetching water. So it was a home of just him and 5 children who are girls and me, the 6th one. We cooked for him in the rain, on firewood. Whether it was raining, whether it was dry, we were outside doing the cooking. When I suggested we add up on our power, maybe with the gas, or we do a bigger solar, he refused. And fetching water was done by us, the girls. He would just come home and bath and use the toilet and expect that there's water for him to flush. He would even be saying, but we didn't have a maid. We were all pulling in the reins. I had children who were still in primary school, 3, and only 2 were in high school.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of work for all of us. There was homework to be done and things. And I just thought, as much as this looks like it's life and what's acceptable, it's not. This is now has extended to some sort of abuse, and I'm letting it happen. And I'm setting this standard and saying to my children, it's fine to have a substandard life when you can do better for yourself and say it's okay. And I knew one day my children would grow up and say, but why did you stay? There was no benefit to us in that relationship except for the 2 of you because you were together.
Okay.
Because there was a time I felt like he was pulling me towards him. There's certain comforts he wanted for me that the children didn't have. Like he would say, so we had a small little gas tank. Only I was allowed to use it to make tea for myself. But it broke my heart to see my children cooking a big pot of sadza outside in the rain. Sometimes with not enough firewood, plastic, So I thought I didn't want to stand for that. And I tried to talk to him about it, to say, I don't think we are doing things right. We need to change the way we prioritize. If we're suffering, let's suffer together. Our priorities are not set straight. They are selfish. They are saving us as grown-ups. Our children will grow up and hate us because they think we only did what worked for us as grown-ups. It really felt like that and unjust towards the children. And he didn't want to hear that. So I separated myself to protect my children. And it just started from there. We separated for 6 months. We tried to work it out again. It didn't work out. And eventually I just left. Okay. And that was that.
Do you feel happier now?
I am.
Are the kids happier?
They seem to be. They would have to answer for themselves. But they seem to be happy.
He keeps in touch?
He stays in touch. Yes, he does.
Okay.
He does.
Does right by the kids?
I try not to. When I left him, I made a decision that I wasn't going to put any expectations on him, and I haven't.
Okay.
And in the first 5 years of the separation, I would say he did 1% of contribution into the children. I did everything by myself. And then he's probably moved to maybe 3% or 2% in the last year. And I don't know what that brought, what brought that up, but he sort of like just started getting. I'm talking about financially. Yeah. Emotionally, I've had to sort of like make him do it by me saying you have to have a relationship with your children. Not that he doesn't like them, but he just doesn't think it's important to spend time with them. And you can see that that's how it was. But the only reason he was spending time with his children is because we lived in the same house.
Okay.
But now that we're not in the same house, he's not able to create an ice cream date and just say, girls, come, I'm going to spend 30 minutes with you and we're going to have ice cream. Maybe he doesn't have money for ice cream, but just come and spend time with your children so that they have a relationship with you.
Okay, no, I'm going to hold you there. When you say come and spend time with the children, is he welcome in your home?
I've never said he can't come.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're comfortable him coming to the house to spend time with the kids?
Yes.
Would you stay? Would you stay there or you'd leave?
I have no problem with him. So when I left, things were said. I think I was so hurt and broken to a point where I don't hold anything against him in my heart. I think living and finding myself in a place of better health and happy has really helped me to release him completely. So when I see him, I have no hate towards him.
Word.
He put a boundary for himself that he doesn't come into my house. And maybe it's a good thing. I've never thought about if he wanted to come, would I let him in? But he never comes in. He comes as far as the
I'm going to agree with you on that. The biggest problem around that is, again, the community, society. I can have a drink with my ex-wife. We can talk, we can sit, we can be cool. It's only when somebody sees us together and starts whispering things into my wife's ears that it seems wrong. But we have grown to understand that we are better separated, but we go to school events together, we do things together. Also meaning my wife is also there. And we are family. And I also strongly believe, even when it comes to naked discipline, it's important that you discipline the kids together. You understand? A lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people take it out of context. And a lot of people believe, whether it's our culture as Africans, we believe
our conversations are centered on whatever the kids are needing at that time. And because I'm not a constant, I need this, I need that, I don't get to start conversations. We, in the end, we only talk when we need to. And I don't know about how he feels about me, but I know from my side, I have nothing against him. I'm happy to say to the children, if they want to go and spend time with him, you can go and be with your father. He picks them up whenever. There's never been a time when he's not allowed to be. We once had a disagreement where I felt like I didn't think the children would be okay with him, but then they love their father.
You can't even take that away from them if you're a noble person.
They love their father so much that no matter what, they will talk about him and they want to be with him. And for that reason, I also end up having to be a bit open with him to say, but the kids need you. And sometimes I have to say, yeah, right. Yeah, that's another whole topic.
just on a lighter note, would you allow him to preside over that? He has to.
Well, on my angry days, no. But and I have communicated it very clearly. I've said, if you carry on like this, I'll marry these children off and you will not know it. Because then I'm upset. And then people say, you can't do that. He's the father. He has to be. I'm like, wow, where is he now? So
this is the double standard with our culture. Like a father can afford to be absent, and then he's still needed for the marriage.
No, I don't think he's needed. We just respect him enough to let him.
He's needed.
No, we need him now.
Kana muchiroresa shumba akwanisi kuuchirwa kuna kwana gushungu.
Kokana asipo time yanenga chinidiwa. Why is he there now?
Probably to usher in and give his blessing. Okay. Once he gives his blessing, then
I still sit 50-50
topic here too. All right, and in conclusion, what do you want to advise anybody that's caught in a situation that this journey that you've walked through? Somebody is probably in the midst of it. somebody might walk into it.
Okay.
Somebody's probably just watching this podcast and they're thinking, my circumstances are somewhat similar.
Okay.
What would you say to them?
So, after divorce, you also do start thinking about things. And could I have done it differently? Should I have stayed? Was I going to make it work? Because then it was too painful. I was falling apart. I needed to get out. And so I have I give advice accordingly.
Yeah.
Sometimes I listen to someone's story and I'm like, you know what? You can stay. I have a feeling you can make this work.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the reasons...
No, Pama, it's not that bad.
No. Well, because of where I've been, I would never let a woman sit in a position where their life is at risk in a marriage just for the sake of being in a marriage. So if someone is physically abusive, I would say walk away. Because the chances of it getting worse are high. And I really don't believe in physical abuse being something we can say is Chiedza. Emotional abuse is tough because it's not visible. So that's what I went through. And depression is the only thing that actually said something was wrong, because everywhere else everything was fine, but I was not. And I kept going into it deep.
Just a quick side question, because untold is awful. Do you think men can also be emotionally manipulated?
Yes.
Oh,
can
okay.
be. They can
Continue.
So
that's all I needed.
It's just that right now it feels like we're talking about men as not good because it's a story coming from a woman.
Yeah.
But there are men going through things also in their marriages, and they are sticking it out for the sake of what will the world think if I leave, or no, I'll be the one pointed to be the wrong one. But they actually
I'll be the one
not
allowed to see the kids. I'll be the one.
Men have got a whole lot of reasons they stay in marriages that are also painful. Because we are people, no one is perfect. And if you hear my ex side of the story, he has things to tell you about me. I was not perfect. I had things that I messed up on. But what
do you have one thing or two things that you can point out and say, "Good, hey, Abandaka Baiza."
I have lots.
Okay.
I have lots. So
if I say two, I'm limiting.
You are limiting. I wasn't perfect.
Okay.
I wasn't perfect.
High five for admitting.
I wasn't perfect.
Are you willing to share?
Maybe not now.
At some other time.
Yes. I don't want to take away the essence of why we talking what we're talking about today.
Okay.
But no, I wasn't. And they
one thing I like about you the most is being practical, realist, and saying there are things that I did wrong.
I was pardoned.
Yeah.
A lot of things.
Okay, you can continue. We can go back to the negative side. We can talk about the negative side of man.
Because we justified now there's a negative side of women. Yeah, my living had nothing to do with what he did wrong and what I did wrong. It was about for continuation of life. I felt drained. And medically even, it was proving that I'm not okay. The depression was not going away as long as we were together. He was the trigger for it. As much as I tried, I prayed, I fasted, I went to church, I prayed with other ladies. Because in his heart he was who he was. As an individual.
If ever, let's say 13 years in, or maybe let's talk about the last hour or the final straw. Had he changed, do you think anything would change, or had he somehow caught wind of what was wrong and he changed those things? Would there be redemption?
Could be, but I didn't trust him anymore.
Okay.
Because I had the same story. Remember, I left a few more times before I finally left. And every time I went back, it was I'll fix it, I'll change, I'll make it right. And then like 3 weeks in, he becomes who he is, and I find myself exactly in the same spot. So I didn't trust him anymore that things would work out. But it doesn't say after I left I learned a few things that I could have done differently. So I would say to a woman who finds themselves in the same position where I was, if you have the energy to work, you're an entrepreneur, you've got a good job, you earn, enough to take care of yourself. I know I think the greatest thing that I struggled with also was to feed a man I thought had failed me to do it for me. But for the sake of the children, and also to understand that it's hard out here, being single ain't easy, and you will not find a replacement of your husband very easily. It's you become single for a long time, and if you have more kids like me, every guy you meet is looking at the number of kids they have before they even consider committing to you.
I want to weigh my responsibilities.
You know, they are weighing their responsibilities.
No, but just imagine you stepping into a relationship and you're starting with.
I have 5 kids and 2 grandchildren, by the way.
And you're starting
which
with.
man wants to be stuck to that? Which man wants that kind of responsibility?
They have to love you enough.
You see,
they have to be understanding, and they have to know that probably you have to give them a waiver. This is not your burden, it's mine.
You know, you always have to give a waiver. So the thing is also, I have resisted being in a serious relationship because of that.
Okay.
Because now it's all girl children. What if this guy that likes me also likes one of my kids? Now I've exposed my children. Remember, when you're coming back from a background of abuse somehow, you also think of what you don't want your children to go through. So you see the type of guy who likes you, and you think, I don't trust them with my child. So you have a relationship outside of the children because you're too afraid for the relationship.
So you can't have a relationship mumba.
No,
you have a relationship outside. You are hiding them from your children.
I tried one relationship that came home, didn't end well, but I learned something from that. But what I'm saying is, to the guys out there, the ladies out there, nothing is easy. You choose your heart. I chose a heart where I thought I was running away from something painful to find life, and I did. I've become so vibrant. I love my life. I'm happy. I'm not happy to be single, but I'm happy to be alive.
Yeah.
I glow better. I breathe better. I can make decisions for myself that better me and my children. Definitely that I have done. I've won to that. Okay. But I have losses.
I understand, and I know it's still not I always have another question when we're supposed to wrap up. Are you still in touch with any of the family from his side?
Yes, I have a special tete. She's very special. She stays in touch all the time. The rest of them don't like me very well.
What did you do?
And I don't care.
Is that part of the things you did wrong?
No. So with the family, I don't think I did anything wrong. I absolutely loved them. I know they loved me too. But in our separation, maybe my ex
things were said.
Or maybe they simply just didn't like the idea that I stood up for myself. Because you know what? It takes guts to stand up for yourself and say, I don't want this marriage anymore. It's killing me. I'm leaving. I'm going to start something new. And it also puts people in a place where they feel like, why was I not brave enough to do that? Why did she make, so I don't know, things they think. Some of them, didn't really like me when I was part of the family anyway. So my leaving has just made it so clear.
Good riddance.
When, they don't like me. And some that I liked, who liked me, have had to choose a side.
Okay, we don't have to choose a side. The podcast is over for today.